Hi there, it's Ruth here from Artful Stampin. Thank you for joining me today. So today I'm going to be making a card front that I actually used as a swap at a recent Stampin' Up event. I used shimmer white cardstock because I just feel it's a little bit thicker and it reacts to inks really well. So I started off by using the stencils from Stampin' Up that are in the current annual catalogue and sprinkled some brushos, various colours, over the top of the stencil, and then spritzed it with some water. I was hoping for a little bit more defined pattern, but I ended up with, a little bit of a pattern, which was fine because I was going to do more to this page anyway. So rather than wasting the brushos that ended up on my stencil, I just used a piece of cardstock, sprinkled the brushos on and sprayed it, and I'm kind of keeping that for another day to play with. So kind of just don't waste things. If you've got that lovely ink, you may as well use it. So then I used a different stencil from the same pack, and I used our fabulous texture paste or embossing paste, and as you can see, I'm also sprinkling on the brushos and mixing it as I'm pushing it through, so I end up with basically a coloured paste. And I don't use an awful lot of it. I kind of scrape it through and then use the excess and move it on to another part of the page until eventually most of the paste is used up. And don't forget to clean your stencils. This stuff is really sticky and dries really hard, so as soon as you've finished using it, get it cleaned off. Then here I sprinkled some copper embossing powder over different parts of the embossing paste. I didn't want to cover it completely as I wanted a kind of very textured and random kind of effect. So then I heated that up, and what you end up with is sometimes the texture paste kind of like bobbles a little bit, which is really quite exciting and gives a fabulous kind of effect. So here you can see it close up, bobbling away. So I wanted to use some stamps, and I love the leaf from Beautiful Promenade. So where there are gaps on my piece of cardstock, I then started to fill it in with that beautiful leaf. I used Old Olive ink for that. So I kept just looking for the gaps and filling them in, and made sure that when I cut up the piece of cardstock, because this is going to be a one sheet wonder type card with some other bits on it, I wanted to make sure there was a leaf on every piece of paper. So here I am using the burlap stamp and just using it directly onto the cardstock rather than putting it on a block, because I wanted the stamp to be quite random. And so I used crushed curry to start off with, and then I thought, oh, I'd like some more depth of colour, so I used the Mango Melody. But as I discovered when I was using it, it really could do with a re-ink, and as it's quite a new ink pad, I don't have the re-inker just yet, so it may not look that different actually on the cardstock. So then I decided I wanted quite slim slithers of these because there was so much going on those pieces, and I think I ended up with maybe 14 pieces. Then I cut some Whisper White card to just under an A6 size and sprinkled each one with a little bit of the yellow or the orange brushos as a bit of a background. And then I got a piece of yellow cardstock, and I think it was either Crushed Curry or Daffodil Delight, I can't remember which, and sprinkled some of the orange and red brushos onto that one, ready to stamp some flowers, which you'll see me do in a second. So I dried off that sheet with my heat tool, So here's the Beautiful Layers Thinlet dies that match the Beautiful Promenade. And because I wanted to stamp quite a few of the flowers, I decided to cut the flowers out first, because we've got the fabulous Stamparatus now, and I'm going to show you a tip on how to use it for cutting and stamping multiple images. So once you've cut out all the flowers, you then have your template piece of cardstock, as you can see here. And then you set up your Stamparatus by putting the template in. Use a magnet, because it's useful to have that not moving. And when you've done that, then get the stamp and place it where you would want it to be. So because I have my template there, you can see it's really easy to line up. Now this stamp set is photopolymer, so I'm using the little foam shim that comes with the Stamparatus. So then you pop your pieces into the template. I use Blueberry Bliss for this particular flower because I wanted a really nice contrast with the yellow. And as you can see, you just stamp away, and then if you've made a mistake, you can go back and rectify it, which is one of the wonderful things about the Stamparatus. There we go, perfectly stamped die cut pieces. And basically you just keep going until all your pieces are done. So once you've got all your pieces to assemble, oh no, actually I'm not quite at that stage. So at this point I wanted to actually stamp on the card base, so I arranged the stamps I wanted to use and lined it up on the Stamparatus, and decided I was going to put the cardstock in the same place each time. So you see where that logo is, just to the right of the logo, I decided that's where I was going to place each card. So this is a really easy way to get a lot of stamping done, especially if you're doing multiple cards like invitations. Then I used the sprig punch, got lots of lovely old olive leaves at the ready. So now I'm ready to assemble. So I've got my brushed and inked stamped cards and then sticking down my panel with a little sprig of leaf and then some copper metallic thread, just to add a little bit of pizzazz. And to make it easier to handle, I stick a dimensional on the end before sticking it down. Sometimes it's helpful to splay it apart once it's actually stuck down, and then put my little flower on there. So there you have it, a kind of mixed media card using the One Sheet Wonder technique. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you've been inspired. Please let me know what you think of the cards, and I hope to see you again soon. Do check out artfulstampin.co.uk for more inspiration, and don't forget to subscribe if this is the first time you visited and you like what you see. There's hundreds of other videos I have on my channel, so do go ahead and have a look at those. Take care for now and have a great day. Bye!